How's it going, everyone? Kevin here with Roll On Gaming, and we are back for another edition of the THRAWNICLES, the series where we attempt to create the perfect Grand Admiral Thrawn deck. Now, today, we're not just getting excited about Grand Admiral Thrawn. We are getting excited about Command Admiral Thrawn. That's right, the deck that I thought was going to be the most intriguing to start with for Grand Admiral Thrawn. We are going to be playing him in Command with the Energy Conversion Lab. Now, this is not the 30 health base, this is the 25 health base, but I do think of all the epic actions that are out there, the epic action on Energy Conversion Lab or Conversation Lab, depending on who you talk to, will be the one that gives you the most value for that 5 health, and it's something that we are going to put into practice today. So let's take a look at the deck build and see where we're at. So this is the current deck build that we are rocking with for Command Thrawn. Now, if you remember back to the first episode of the Thrawnicles, we were leaning a lot more into that Imperial synergy. So things like Maximum Firepower, General Veers, Grand Moff Tarkin, cards of that nature that were designed to let us use the Imperial trait that Grand Admiral Thrawn shared to maximize as many things as we possibly could. We've taken all that and we've thrown it right out the window, because when I look back at that build, I realized there were a lot of value plays, some of which we talked about in that very same episode, that were missing that we had to include with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So Boba Fett is back and Bossk is back. These are cards that need to be included in pretty much every cunning villainy deck to this point, and especially Boba Fett, who synergizes so well with Grand Admiral Thrawn's exhaust ability. We also had to bring in Greedo, because Greedo is one of the best one-drop cards out there. It's one of the best value cards you can possibly have. It has the stats of a Death Star Stormtrooper and can potentially add 2 damage on top of that. This is a deck that plays a lot of events. You don't necessarily want to discard a lot of those events, but if you do and you need it, you're going to be able to see what's on top with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So you're going to be able to make an informed decision no matter what happens about whether or not you can discard with Greedo, so you're not potentially losing a valuable unit down the road. So Greedo's in. We did keep some Imperial staples. Obviously, Super Laser Technician is there. The purpose of Super Laser Technician is twofold. One, because he might be the best command villainy unit that exists, and also because this deck is designed to ramp. We're going to ramp and we're going to stall out our opponent to be able to let us ramp into the big things. And what are the big things? Blizzard Assault, AT-AT, and the Devastator. I've talked a lot about my love for Devastator, so it's time to get it on the table. Our win condition is going to be slowing down our opponent to the point where we can build up our resources and play the heavy hitters like the AT-AT and the Devastator to close out games for us. So that's what we're trying to do with both Super Laser Technician in, resupply in 3 copies of each. I've still got the Cell Block Guard in there to potentially slow down my opponent. I had Emperor's Royal Guard in previously, but with the only officers on the table right now being Admiral Piet and, of course, Thrawn when he hits the table, I need more of a sure thing. So right now, Cell Block Guard is in. He may be out later, but right now that's what we're going with. I mentioned Admiral Piet. He's so crucial to making sure that we get value out of those big units when they hit the table. There's nothing worse than ramping up to 8 resources, spending all 8 resources for a Blizzard Assault AT-AT, and then getting it waylaid for 3. That's not something we want to do. We want to be able to have it have immediate effect when it hits the table. So if we can keep Piet around, again, with some of this stalling strategy that we're looking to do, Piet's going to be a huge asset to us. The events in the deck are almost all designed to slow down the opponent. We have 3 copies of No Good to Me Dead, which is a fantastic card that, again, should be in every cunning villainy deck. We have 3 copies of Asteroid Sanctuary. There's a lot of redundancy going on there with Thrawn's exhaust ability and those 6 events. But what I would say is Thrawn's ability is not guaranteed. So if you run into a scenario where you look at the top card of your deck and it's a Greedo, and your opponent has 2, 3, 4 cost units out on the board, you're going to have a little bit of redundancy that you're going to need with both Asteroid Sanctuary and No Good to Me Dead in the deck. Overwhelming Barrage, again, you can't leave that out of a command villainy deck. It's one of the best cards ever. Waylay is great, again, to slow down the opponent. The use of our base Energy Conversion Lab is going to be crucial with the Super Laser Technician for ramp purposes, but also with cards like 7th Fleet Defender. Because it comes in shielded, if you have the ability to ambush something in space and get it off the board without taking any damage to your defender, that's going to be very crucial for you, because there's not a lot of space units in this build. You see 9 of them. That's all we've got. We've got the 7th Fleet Defender at a 3 of. We've got the Gladiator Star Destroyer out of 3 of, and then again the Devastator, which is going to take us 10 resources to get to. That's it. So if space is becoming a problem, being able to ambush in the Defender is something that's really going to help us maintain tempo in the space arena and also not get too far behind. Again, those exhaust cards and Thrawn's ability are going to help there as well. So we're going to look at this build for now. There are some cards that we thought could make it, but weren't necessarily included at this time. So let's take a look at those real quick, and then we're going to jump into some gameplay. Let's start with the Outer Rim Headhunter. Now, this is a unit that I thought a lot about because of Grand Admiral Thrawn's survivability specifically. He has 9 HP, so he's theoretically going to stick around for a while. Add that to the fact that if you're ramping, you're getting Thrawn out earlier, which makes Outer Rim Headhunter's ability of on attack, if you control a leader unit, you may exhaust a non-leader unit to be that much more effective and be online potentially sooner. It came down to what I thought I had room for, and I didn't necessarily want to put another space unit into my build. So did I want Outer Rim Headhunter or did I want the 7th Fleet Defender? It turned out I wanted the 7th Fleet Defender a little bit more. So we went with that, but this is a card that could find a home in my sideboard as one where if I'm not getting enough exhaust from Thrawn or from the events that are in there, I could potentially put in Outer Rim Headhunter and alleviate some of those concerns. We also have Homestead Militia, potentially as a card that could see play instead of Cell Block Guard. Because we're ramping, we're going to get, hopefully, to 6 resources a lot sooner. So Sentinel's going to be turned on a lot more for Homestead Militia. It has the extra 1 HP, but it came down to consistency. If I pull this early, it's not going to be a Sentinel, whereas Cell Block Guard is. That's why Cell Block Guard is in there right now. Let's talk about events. Outmaneuver, one that was just recently revealed. Choose an arena, ground, or space, and exhaust each unit in that arena. I have that in specifically because I don't have a lot of space units. So if I run into a scenario where my opponent is loading up in space and I don't have an answer for it because the only low-cost unit I have in the space arena right now is the 7th Fleet Defender, Outmaneuver could be one that helps me stem the tide and avoid a big chunk of damage in a round. Definitely one I'm going to consider in a sideboard because there are going to be a lot of decks that want to go wide. And if I run into those and I don't have the answers in a particular arena, I think Outmaneuver is going to help me out a lot. Again, to continue to slow down my opponent until we can get our heavy hitters on the board. Shoot First. This card is really, really good for the survivability of units. I don't think I'm necessarily trying to attack aggressively with my units into my opponent's units in this case. Again, the deck that I have designed here is more about keeping the tempo low until I can jump in with the AT-ATs and the Star Destroyers. So Shoot First was one that I took a long look at again, but I don't think it really fits with the build that I'm going for, but a fantastic card, one that's going to help keep your units alive. And if it ends up being a scenario where I can't keep my units alive, I may end up looking at Shoot First as a potential include. And finally, we talked about the Devastator and the AT-AT. What better way to go find those cards, those endgame cards, than Prepare for Takeoff? For 2 costs, I'm able to search the top 8 cards of my deck for up to 2 vehicle units and draw them. Now, if I am in the late game and I have ramped all this time and I cannot find my Blizzard AT-ATs or my Devastator, this is a card that could potentially help me eliminate some of that variance and get those cards into my hands so I can close out a game. Do I think I need them yet? I'm not sure, but this feels like a sideboard card to me for now. Let's sort of see how the deck plays out with the current build as constructed, but I've definitely got my eye on Prepare for Takeoff. That being said, I am pretty confident in the build that we have constructed, so we're going to see how things go. So we're going to get some gameplay in now with Command Thrawn. Now, I fully expect these games to take a little bit longer than traditional Star Wars Unlimited games. One, because our deck is designed to do that. We want to stall out our opponent until we can build up our resources and play our big units. The other reason is because I'm going to be talking through some of my decisions as we go along so that you can hopefully learn something and I can hopefully learn something when I'm watching back all the mistakes that I intend to make, which I'm sure there will be plenty of. We will be playing this game on an online client. Rest assured, when Star Wars Unlimited comes out in March of 2024, we will be transitioning only to physical, in-person product that we have purchased. This is just a way for us to get some testing in and figure out some of the things we're doing right with our deck builds and some of the things that we are doing wrong. But when Star Wars Unlimited comes out, I want to make it clear that we will only be playing with physical cards that we have purchased, and we'll be doing it in person. So stay tuned for that. But first, let's go into the gameplay, and hopefully we can get this win. All right, so let's see what we've got here. We're going to be playing against Corwin today. We are not going to be able to hear him, and he's not going to be able to hear me. That's a horrible opening hand. Yeah, we Boba Fett, Waylay, 2 AT-ATs, and a 7th Fleet Defender. I only drew 5, so we're going to draw 1 more. That's even worse. We're definitely going to go ahead and we're going to mulligan that. So let's figure out, maybe we get a better hand here. Okay, this is slightly better. We've got our ramp card. That's definitely something we're looking for immediately, is a ramp card. And we have a round 1 play in Piet. Although it's not great, I'm going to take it because 1, I have to. And 2, we've got the ramp that we're looking for. The resupply is really going to help us. I have to decide between keeping Agent Callus and Bosk. I think I'm going to keep Agent Callus. Normally I would keep Bosk because he has the better ability and the better health, but I think against Corwin's Luke deck, he's going to have a lot of unique units, like R2, 3PO, Yoda. So I think Agent Callus is going to help us here. Now, I have the initiative, so I'm going to start by looking at the top card of our deck. Okay, so I'm going to have that coming up. We'll see if I hang on to that. And then he's got a takedown coming up, which is not great for me. All right, and then I will go ahead and go. So let's bring in Admiral Piet to the ground arena. Now, I don't love Admiral Piet as an opening round play because he's probably going to get deleted at some point. But you know, you gotta establish some tempo. All right, so he's going to get a shielded Leia right away, which is less than ideal. But you know, there's not much we can do about that. If Piet is able to remove that shield in some way, then we're going to be in a spot where Callus can take that down and draw a card pretty easily. All right, so Corwin is going to pass. So we will draw up here. Okay, Greedo helps us out here. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of Piet. I think that's Resupply, Asteroid Sanctuary, and Callus are all going to be more beneficial here. Once he resources, I will use the Thrawn ability and see where we get. All right, so let's see what I've got coming up. I got another resupply, which is interesting. I have the potential to doubly ramp here, or I can use that as a resource. He's got a Chewbacca coming up, which I'm not stoked to see. But that again could be one where I'm using that with Callus to get rid of some stuff. All right, so we're going to play a little conservative here. I think we're going to pay 2 to Asteroid Sanctuary to exhaust that Leia, and then we'll give a shield to Piet to try to give him some survivability. So that's what we're going to do there. I chose to do that instead of Thrawn because, 1, it gives Piet the shield, and 2, I have just enough resources to still be able to play Greedo. So I think we're in a better spot there. If I had done it with Thrawn's ability, I'd still only be playing Greedo. Millennium Falcon, not great. But interestingly enough here, I am going to use Thrawn's ability here and pay a resource to reveal Chewbacca and exhaust the Millennium Falcon. So that actually helped out. I'm not able to play Greedo, but I think we're in a spot where I save myself 3 damage. He's still going to have to pay for the Falcon. And I have effectively bought myself 1 damage to his base. Now, Corwin is choosing to use the 30 health base here, Administrator's Tower. I think I'm less sold on the 30 health bases than he is. I think the 25 health bases are really useful. Now, interesting conundrum here. Do I resource one of these resupplies and save the Blizzard Assault AT-AT? I've already resourced 1 AT-AT. I think I'd probably want to keep the second one, especially if I'm going to be ramping. But because I'm not going to play Agent Callus here, so I think I'm going to resource a resupply. It doesn't feel great, but I think that's probably our best bet. we'll see how that plays out. Let's go ahead and ready. And then I will look at... Okay, so I've got an overwhelming barrage coming up. He's got a Luke's lightsaber coming up. Okay, so the overwhelming barrage can exhaust the Millennium Falcon. And if the Falcon attacks first, then I can still exhaust Leia if I really want to. Although I'm not sure I need to at this point. Yeah, so he's probably going to attack with the Falcon first. Yep, so 3 into the base. Now I have a decision here. I can either play Greedo. Oh, that's interesting. I don't want to discard my overwhelming barrage, but if I wanted to, I could play Greedo and discard to defeat Leia. I could use Greedo's ambush to defeat Leia. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think instead I'm just going to attack with Admiral Piet into Leia, and we're going to remove both of our shields. So we'll see what happens there. This is more of a stalling tactic for me to see what he does. If he doesn't have a ton to play, I can go ahead and resupply with Reckless Abandon and still play the Greedo. Thrawn's going to come out next round, which is great. He'll come out a round before Luke, which we're pretty excited about. Did not play that this phase, and he's realizing that now. So he's not going to be able to shield Leia. So he's going to pay 2 instead for an Arc 170, which will be shielded, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead and play Greedo. I'm going to get Greedo out there. So now I expect Luke will shield the Arc 170. I am in a weird spot here, to the point where he's got 5 damage threatening every round in space. Leia is going to take out Greedo, which is perfectly fine for me. I will not discard because there are no other ground units in play. So then I'm going to resupply and get myself ready to deploy Thrawn next round. So the next round may be a scenario where I'm using Thrawn's ability to exhaust, especially because I have the initiative now that he is shielded the Arc 170. Okay, so overwhelming barrage is... Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to be on 6 resources. Kallus doesn't help me a ton here. Because he doesn't have anything in the ground arena. I don't necessarily want to resource it, but I think overwhelming barrage is going to be way too useful. And I want to keep my AT-AT. So I think... Oh, this is a tough resourcing decision. This is going to be online, so I should probably keep this to deal 4 damage. I think I'm going to lose tempo if I discard this AT-AT, though. So I think Agent Kallus is probably going to have to go. I don't agree with this decision at all, really. But I'm in a position where I can't use Agent Kallus to the full effect this round. Boba Fett's coming, so that's going to give me some more ground units. And he's got a repair coming, so that's good. So I'm in a spot where I have 6 resources. I can afford to... I think I can afford to deploy Thrawn here. I can also save myself 2 damage if I exhaust. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to exhaust Thrawn, pay a resource, and reveal Boba Fett to exhaust the Arc. That's also going to save him the restore. And now when I deploy Thrawn, I have the ability to exhaust something else again if he plays a Millennium Falcon or if he does something along those lines. No, it looks like he's going to play Chewie here. Yep. All right, so Thrawn is going to deploy. Now, in an interesting scenario, when this unit is attacked, okay, that's on attack. So I can't re-exhaust his Chewie with Grand Admiral Thrawn's ability because mine happens before, like, at the beginning of the attack, and his Chewie ability happens at the end of the attack. So that is unfortunately going to be a scenario where I think this overwhelming barrage is going to have to... he doesn't have anything to stop it. He doesn't have any way to shield. So I think we're going to barrage. And we're going to do... we're going to do all 5 to Chewie. So what that does, it's going to let me eliminate with Piet. And still not die, which is good. And then Thrawn can attack into the base. And I'll take 3 damage onto Piet. And then he's probably going to take the initiative here, would be my guess. Great, so we will hit base for 5. And then we're done. And then I'll pass. All right, so now we're in a spot where I can still exhaust the arc if he doesn't choose to attack with it first. I got a Piet back, which is huge. So the question remains... Okay, I have to get rid of the short trooper here. Piet's got to come out so I can use the AT-AT next round to its full effect if he kills my Piet. So that's what I'm going to do. Short trooper goes away. That's going to save me enough room for Boba Fett. And then if Piet dies, I at least have this one. I can also just replace this. I can just play the Piet and replace the damaged one, which I'm not opposed to doing at all, which is pretty exciting. Also, if and when Luke deploys this round, I can ambush with Boba Fett to do 6 damage after he's attacked. And then do the last 7th one with Piet, which I'm pretty excited about as well. So let's see what Thrawn's got here at his disposal. Okay, so that's a waylay. So that can exhaust the arc if he doesn't attack right away. And that's a Jedi lightsaber. Oh, I don't want to see a Jedi lightsaber. All right, so I have to take care of Luke this round. Corwin has the initiative. We'll see what happens here and what he decides to play. He's probably going to attack with the arc first. Yep. All right, so that's going to be 2 damage to my base, and he's going to heal 1. So we're theoretically going to be even. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Thrawn. I don't have anything to exhaust at this point, and before he drops an Obi-Wan, I want to get that in. So we'll attack base for 3. And we'll see what we get. If he deploys Luke right away, that means he might have some cards that allow him to remove damage, which I'm not super stoked about. But I can always hit with Piet just to do the 1 damage. Make him think that I don't have a ton else to do. And then ambush in Boba for the kill. We'll see where we get there. It depends on what he does with his resources. He could be signaling, if he doesn't play anything here, that he doesn't have anything else to play right away. I've seen the Chewbacca that he played that's already off the board. So it just remains to be seen how he spends his resources here. All right, Millennium Falcon comes in. We're going to pass. He's probably going to deal 3 damage with the Millennium Falcon. I would assume. He's going to repair his base. Okay. That stinks. All right. I'm going to pass. I know Luke's coming out here. If he spends his other resources. Okay, so he could have a Luke's lightsaber. No, he's shielding. Okay. So I know he doesn't have a Luke's lightsaber, which is good. I'm going to pass. He's going to deal 3 damage to me. And he can't afford a Luke's lightsaber. He can't afford a binds, which we're very happy about. Yep. So we're going to do that. Okay. We're going to pass. If he doesn't bring Luke out here, that's also a win. But he's going to. Yep. Okay, so Piet is going to sacrifice his body to glorify his soul and take himself out of the equation. That's going to give us... That's going to give him an attack into my base, if he so chooses, which will give him another shield on another one of his units. He could also hit Thrawn. Okay. Oh, so he's got takedown next round, which is going to be unfortunate. So Thrawn's going to die. Let's go ahead and epic action. The Energy Conversion Lab. And play Boba Fett. So that's going to be 6. And I'm going to take 4. He's going to take initiative, I'm sure. And then I'm going to play Piet. Yep. All right, so then we'll play Piet and pass. All right, so now I'm in a position where the AT-AT can at least do some things if I need him to. I'm a little worried about these cards here. Waylay is going to be a huge help. I unfortunately do need to resource this Shore Trooper. Or you know what? I don't think I need to resource here. I think I waylay and play the Shore Trooper. And then play the AT-AT next round. We're going to do it that way, and we're going to see what happens. Because I still can get some damage on board if I do that. And that's gonna save my base from some damage. So we're going to go ahead and... Ooh. Yeah, it's risky. It's risky. I'd like to play the AT-AT this round, but I'm going to go ahead and not resource, and we're going to see what happens. This is risky. This is risky. Don't judge me if this goes wrong, because this is risky. Okay, Corwin has rated his resources. I'm going to go ahead and check here. Okay, Garrido's not going to help me exhaust anything. Han is. I don't love seeing that on his side of the board. But I can exhaust something with Han and save my resources if I really need to. If he drops something big here, I can waylay it. Okay, it's 5 resources. Yeah, so takedown on Thrawn for sure. So I couldn't have exhausted anything anyway. So that's fine. This is going to allow me to waylay... I'm going to waylay the Falcon here because he can't play it. Again, with his 2 resources left on the board. So that helps. He's still going to get a restore off, unfortunately, with the Arc 170. But I just saved myself 3 damage and got rid of a double shielded Falcon that he can't play again. So I'm pretty excited about that. So I'm at 10, he's at 4. I'm going to go ahead and attack with Boba while I still can. So he's going to deal 3 damage to Corwin's base. Let's see if Corwin has anything else to play with his 2 resources. He does not. All right, so we're going to swing in with Piet. And then I'm going to play the Seasoned Shore Trooper for 2. Okay, so that round really worked out for us the way we wanted it. It does sort of guarantee that we're going to need to play, we're going to need a resource on this round, especially with Devastator coming up. So Greedo's going the way of the Dodo Bird here to allow me to continue to ramp up for Devastator. Now, the unintended consequence there is, unfortunately, you know, again, I'm in a spot where because I didn't resource last round, I'm still 2 turns away from a Devastator. Having a Blizzard Assault helps here because I can exhaust something if I need to. He's going to have another takedown, which is going to get rid of the Blizzard Assault as soon as he plays Han Solo, which is unfortunate. So we'll see what happens. I'm in a spot where I think I'm okay, but Piet is going to let me ambush with the AT-AT so that Han doesn't keep wreaking havoc, provided he plays it. First, he's going to attack with his arc. Yep, and restore 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit with the Shore Trooper to leave Boba out there as a tempting target. So that's going to be 4 damage to his base. And hopefully he takes the bait and goes for Boba. And not Piet, because if he goes for Piet, we're in trouble a little bit. It's going to leave us wide open to some plays next round, which I'm not super stoked on. He has enough resources where he could play Han and theoretically think he's in a spot where he can just shield Han up. Han Han is a heroism unit, so he could totally do it. But we'll see what he does with his 8 resources. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, here comes Han. Just as we predicted. See, this is the great thing about Thrawn. Thrawn being able to sort of know what's coming is super helpful. He doesn't take damage there. So there you go. All right. But what he is going to get now is he's going to get the full wrath of an ATST. So he's going to hit for 9, and I'm going to take 6. And he does that before Han Solo can get shielded up, which I'm pretty excited about. Now this game is taking some time here because, again, I'm stalling him out as best I can. But hopefully now we have some damage on board that we can use to our advantage. Now again, oh, this stinks. Okay, so I have the resource here to be able to get Devastator on board. I'm very worried about the health of my AT-AT. If he waylays, I guess it's not a big deal. But he could also play Takedown, which I know is coming. So if that ends up happening, then my overwhelming barrage feels way worse. But I could also just take initiative and see where I get. So I think, unfortunately, I'm in a spot where I have to resource my Blizzard AT-AT. And that is my last Blizzard AT-AT in the deck. There are now 2 in resource and 1 on board with 6 damage. So I'm in a spot where I'm in some trouble. So Boba Fett for 3, that's going to help me exhaust his Arc 170 if he plays Takedown right away, which he will. I can also exhaust his Arc with Asteroid Sanctuary, which I'll probably end up doing because it's a 2-cost unit. So yeah, this is a Takedown all day, every day. Absolutely. Yep. For sure. See you later. All right, so we're going to go ahead and exhaust paying a resource to exhaust the Arc 170. So he doesn't get a restore here, which is nice. If he if he plays another unit here, I may honestly just take initiative, because Devastator is going to be able to knock something out next round as soon as he comes out. He is going to play the Falcon. That's actually perfect, because I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and Overwhelming Barrage. So that's going to be 4 to Falcon, 2 on shield. And that's going to give us the removed shield to get rid of Falcon, and also remove the shield from Arc. So I am effectively stymieing him pretty good here. I'm hoping we're coming pretty close to the end game. Asteroid Sanctuary is going to exhaust me. Yep, and give a shield to... So he has another Asteroid Sanctuary coming next round, which is unfortunate. I have to decide if I'm going to take initiative here, or let him have initiative so he can potentially play something for Devastator to deal with. I think that's going to be the latter. I think I'm going to attack with Piet, get that extra damage in, let him play something for Devastator to remove, and see where we get. So he's going to take initiative. I'm going to pass. Barrage goes away. We're going to draw 2. Again, we have to resource here. It's a tough decision. Again, I think this is my only other Callus in the deck. Boba Fett just too useful for the cost. Although the card draw is going to be helpful if I can get it. And you know what? I think I might resource Boba here. It's the best of a bad situation, but I'm down to 2 cards. Callus's card draw could really potentially help. Okay, Super Laser Technician doesn't really help me here. Asteroids, so many Asteroid Sanctuaries. Oh, goodness. Okay. So we'll see what he does here. He probably attacks with... Yep, he's probably going to attack here. But he could also Asteroid me again and prevent 4 damage. 4, 5, 6. Obi-Wan. See, that ends up being absolutely perfect, because now I'm able to... before he can shield Obi-Wan, I'm just going to play the Devastator. And that's going to 10 damage here, exhaust, and hit this, and take 2. So now he has to attack into my Devastator. Yep. He doesn't get to draw a card. He can't shield Obi-Wan. We're in a spot where we're doing okay here. So he's going to have to do that. I'm going to attack his base with the Shore Trooper. He's going to play an X-Wing. I'm going to take the initiative. He's probably going to shield his X-Wing. Yep, that's fine. Okay, let's draw 2. Super Laser Tech immediately goes into the resource pile. Let's check this out here. Okay, we got a Gladiator coming on my end, and Chewbacca coming on his end. All right, so he's got an Asteroid Sanctuary. I know that. So I'm just going to attack straight into base. And then if he can't deal with this guy, then he's in trouble. Here's your asteroid sanctuary. Yep. And then he's going to get another shield on his X-Wing. I'm going to go ahead and exhaust. Pay 1 to exhaust this by showing this. I don't know what other units he might have here, but if it's a cheap unit, I can just take initiative and win. Okay, so he's going to take initiative. So I'm going to pay 3 for a super laser technician. And then I'm going to pay 5 for Agent Callus. And then I'm going to pass. Gladiator Star Destroyer is going to help. I can also ambush with it. Okay, and that's it. That's game for us. We got the Devastator, which means we got the win. We love to see it. So there you have it. Grand Admiral Thrawn in command gets the win in his first game against Luke Skywalker. Obviously, getting the Devastator out provided huge dividends for us, and the AT-AT was able to affect the board in positive ways while he was on the table. Those two things are a win condition, and we won because we played them. So it's really good to see the plans sort of coming into place there. But what did you guys think? Let us know in the comments below some of the things we could have done better, some of the things you enjoyed about this series. Again, we're really excited to continue testing with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So thank you for sticking around and letting us do that. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more Grand Admiral Thrawn content, and obviously more Star Wars Unlimited content as a whole. We're going to continue to test with Thrawn as new cards come out. We're going to continue to test in different aspects. But that's what we got for Command at this point. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, long live the Empire.